You want to know something? You're amazing. Yeah, you're the person reading this right now. You're incredible. And I'm not just saying that. But here's the thing. Are you living like you're amazing? Are you showing the world your true self? Or are you hiding behind a mask, trying to be what everyone else wants? Let me tell you, that's no way to live. That's not even living. That's just existing. And you were made for more than just existing. You were made to shine. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if people don't like the real me? Well, let me ask you this. Do you like the fake you? The one that's always trying to please everyone else? The one that's afraid to speak up, afraid to stand out, afraid to be different? I bet you don't. And if you don't like that version of yourself, why would anyone else? See, here's the truth. The world doesn't need another copycat. It doesn't need another person trying to fit in. What the world needs is you, the real you, the authentic you, the you that's been hiding inside, waiting for a chance to come out and make a difference. But let me tell you, that chance isn't just going to fall into your lap. You got to make it happen. You got to choose to be you every single day, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, even when everyone around you is telling you to be something else. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Being yourself in a world that's always trying to make you something else is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's also the most rewarding. So how do you stop being who they want you to be and start being who you really are? It starts with a decision right here, right now. You got to decide that from this moment on, you're going to be true to yourself, no matter what. That means no more changing yourself to fit in. No more hiding your opinions because you're afraid of what others might think. No more pretending to like things you don't or dislike things you do just to please someone else. It means speaking your truth even when your voice shakes. It means standing up for what you believe in, even when you're standing alone. It means pursuing your dreams, even when everyone else says they're impossible. Now, I know that sounds scary, and it is. But you know what's even scarier? Living your whole life as someone else. Waking up one day and realizing you never gave the real you a chance to shine. That's the kind of regret that'll eat you up inside. So let's talk about how to break free from those chains of expectation. First off, you got to get to know yourself. And I mean, really know yourself. Not the version of you that you show to the world, but the real you underneath all that. What do you love? What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? What gets you fired up? What are you passionate about? These aren't just idle questions. They're the key to unlocking your authentic self. Spend some time alone. Turn off your phone, shut down your computer, and just be with yourself. Listen to your thoughts. Pay attention to your feelings. You might be surprised at what you discover. Every time you let a little bit of the real you shine through, you're building strength. You're building confidence. You're showing yourself that it's okay to be you. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There will be people who don't like it. There will be people who try to push you back into that box they're comfortable with. They might criticize you. They might laugh at you. They might even try to bring you down. And you know what? For every person who tries to dim your light, there will be others who are inspired by it, who are drawn to your authenticity, who appreciate you for who you really are. Those are your people. Those are the relationships worth investing in. Now let's talk about fear for a minute, because fear is the biggest thing that keeps us from being ourselves. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. But here's the truth about fear. It's just a feeling. It's not a fact. It's not a predictor of the future. It's just your mind trying to keep you safe. But you weren't made to be safe. You were made to be great. And greatness doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from taking risks, from stepping out of your comfort zone, from being willing to fall down and get back up again. So the next time you feel that fear rising up inside you, don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Face it head on. Look it in the eye and say, I see you, fear, but you don't control me. I'm going to do this anyway. Every time you do that, you get stronger. You build what I like to call your courage muscle. And the more you exercise that muscle, the easier it becomes to be yourself. Now, let's talk about your dreams for a minute. Because when you're being who everyone else wants you to be, you're not just denying your true self. You're denying your dreams. You're settling for less than what you're capable of. Maybe you've got a dream that you've been hiding. Maybe it's starting your own business. Maybe it's traveling the world. Maybe it's writing a book or making music or changing your career. Whatever it is, it's time to bring that dream out into the light. Don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too big. Don't let anyone convince you to settle for less. Your dreams are yours for a reason. They're part of who you are. And when you deny your dreams, you're denying a part of yourself. So start taking steps towards those dreams, even if they're just baby steps, even if you can only devote a few minutes a day to them. What matters is that you're moving forward. You're being true to yourself and what you want out of life. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about my responsibilities? What about my family? What about my job? And those are valid concerns. But here's the thing, being true to yourself doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities. It means finding a way to fulfill those responsibilities while still being authentic. In fact, when you're being true to yourself, you're better able to serve others. You're more creative, more energetic, more passionate. You bring your whole self to everything you do, and that benefits everyone around you. Think about it. Would you rather have a parent, a partner, a friend, or a coworker who's pretending to be someone they're not? Or would you rather have someone who's genuine, who's authentic, who's fully present? Being yourself isn't selfish. It's the greatest gift you can give to the world because there's only one you, and the world needs what only you can offer. Now, let's talk about failure for a minute. Because when you start being yourself, you're going to fail sometimes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall flat on your face, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's necessary. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every great person you admire, every successful person you look up to, they've all failed, probably more times than you can count. But they didn't let those failures define them. They learned from them. They grew from them, and they kept going. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't let it stop you from being yourself. Instead, see it as a teacher. See it as a sign that you're pushing yourself, that you're growing, that you're living life to the fullest. And remember, the only real failure is not trying. The only real failure is giving up on yourself. As long as you keep getting back up, as long as you keep being true to who you are, you're succeeding. Now, let's talk about comparison for a minute. Because in this world of social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. But here's the truth. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's also the enemy of authenticity. When you're constantly looking at what everyone else is doing, what everyone else has, what everyone else looks like, you're not focusing on your own journey. You're not appreciating your own gifts. You're not celebrating your own progress. So stop comparing yourself to others. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you becoming more of who you truly are? That's what matters. Remember, your path is your path. It's not going to look like anyone else's. And that's a good thing. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes you valuable. Now let's talk about courage. Because being yourself takes courage. It takes guts to stand out in a world that's always trying to make you fit in. It takes bravery to speak your truth when everyone around you is staying quiet. But here's the thing about courage. It's not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And every time you do that, you get stronger. You build your courage muscle. So start exercising that muscle. Start with small acts of courage. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Maybe it's wearing that outfit you love, but we're always too afraid to put on. Maybe it's finally telling your friends about that dream you've been hiding. Every time you do something that scares you, you're proving to yourself that you can handle it. You're showing yourself that you're stronger than your fears. And that confidence will carry over into every area of your life. Now, let's talk about growth. Because being yourself isn't about staying the same. It's about growing into the best version of yourself. It's about constantly learning, constantly improving, constantly evolving. But here's the key. You're growing as yourself, not as someone else. You're not trying to become a carbon copy of someone you admire. You're not trying to fit into someone else's mold of success. You're becoming the best version of you. So never stop learning, never stop growing. Read books, take classes, try new things. Push yourself out of your comfort zone, but always do it in a way that's true to who you are. Now let's talk about your voice. Because when you're being who everyone else wants you to be, you're silencing your own voice. You're holding back your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas, and the world is missing out because of it. Your voice matters. Your perspective is unique. Your ideas have value, but none of that can make a difference if you're not willing to speak up. So start using your voice. Start sharing your thoughts. Start expressing your ideas, even if your voice shakes, even if you're not sure anyone will listen, even if you're afraid of being judged. Remember, the world doesn't need another echo. It needs your unique voice. It needs your unique perspective. Now let's talk about your passions. Because when you're living for everyone else, you're often ignoring the things that light you up inside. You're pushing aside your passions in favor of what's practical, what's expected, what's normal. But your passions are a part of who you are. They're not just hobbies or interests. They're clues to your purpose. They're signs pointing you towards the life you're meant to live. So don't ignore your passions. Don't push them aside. Make time for them, nurture them. Let them guide you. Even if they don't make sense to anyone else, even if they don't seem practical, even if they don't fit into the life everyone else thinks you should have. Because here's the truth, that you're living your passion, you come alive. You radiate energy, you inspire others, and that's when you make your biggest impact on the world. Now, let's talk about your values. Because when you're trying to be who everyone else wants you to be, you often find yourself compromising your values, doing things you don't believe in, saying things you don't mean, living in a way that doesn't align with what you know is right. But your values are the foundation of who you are. They're your internal compass. They guide your decisions, your actions, your relationships. When you compromise your values, you're compromising yourself. So get clear on what you believe in. What's important to you? What do you stand for? And then live by those values, even when it's hard, even when it goes against the grain, even when it means standing alone. Because when you live by your values, you have integrity, you have self-respect, you have peace of mind. And that's worth more than any approval from others. Now let's talk about your relationships, because when you're not being true to yourself, it affects every relationship in your life. You can't connect deeply with others when you're hiding who you really are. You can't build genuine friendships when you're always pretending. So start showing up as your authentic self in your relationships. Let people see the real you. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams. Be vulnerable. Be honest. Be real. Yes, some people might not like it. Some relationships might change or even end. But the ones that remain, the ones that accept and love you for who you truly are, those are the relationships that will enrich your life. Those are the connections that will support you, inspire you, and help you grow. Now let's talk about your purpose. Because when you're living for everyone else, you're not fulfilling your true purpose. You're not making the impact you're meant to make. You're not leaving the legacy you're meant to leave. Your purpose isn't something someone else can give you. It's not something you can find in a book or a seminar. It's something that comes from within. It's the intersection of your passions, your talents, and the needs of the world. And you can only discover that purpose when you're being true to yourself. When you're living authentically, when you're using your unique gifts and following your own path. So stop trying to fit into someone else's idea of success. Stop trying to live someone else's purpose. Start exploring what lights you up inside. Start using your unique gifts to make a difference. Start living in a way that feels true to you. Because here's the thing. The world doesn't need another copycat. It doesn't need another person just going through the motions. It needs you, the real you, the authentic you, the you that's been hiding inside, waiting for a chance to come out and make a difference. Now, I know this isn't easy. I know it's scary to step out and be yourself in a world that's always trying to make you something else. But I want you to know something. You're stronger than you think. You're braver than you believe. You're more capable than you know. Every time you choose to be yourself, you're building strength. Every time you speak your truth, you're building courage. Every time you follow your heart, you're getting closer to your purpose. And yeah, it might be tough at first. You might feel awkward. You might feel exposed. You might even feel a little lost. But that's okay. That's part of the process. That's what growth feels like. Remember, you're not alone in this. Every great person you admire, every leader, every innovator, every game changer, they all had to make this same choice. They all had to decide to be themselves in a world that wanted them to be something else. Think about it. Would Steve Jobs have changed the world if he tried to be a traditional CEO? Would Martin Luther King Jr. have inspired millions if he'd kept his dream to himself? Would Oprah have touched so many lives if she tried to be just another talk show host? No, they changed the world by being themselves, by embracing their uniqueness, by having the courage to doubt and speak up. And you know what? You've got that same power inside you. You've got your own unique gifts, your own unique perspective, your own unique way of making a difference in this world. But none of that can happen if you're busy trying to be someone else. None of that can happen if you're hiding your true self behind a mask of conformity. So I'm challenging you right now. I'm challenging you to take off that mask, to step out from behind that facade, to show the world who you really are. Start small if you need to. Maybe it's sharing an idea in a meeting. Maybe it's pursuing a hobby you've always been interested in, but were afraid to try. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with someone close to you about how you really feel. Whatever it is, take that step. And then take another and another. Each step builds momentum. Each step makes the next one. And as you go, remember this, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to be real, to be honest, to be you. Because here's the truth. There's no one else in this world quite like you. No one else with your exact combination of experiences, talents, and dreams. And if you don't share that with the world, if you don't let your light shine, we all miss out. So stop hiding. Stop pretending. Stop trying to squeeze yourself into a mold that was never meant for you. Instead, embrace your quirks. Celebrate your differences. Let your freak flag fly. Cause those things that make you different. Those are your superpowers. And when you start using those superpowers when you start being true to who you really are. That's when the magic happens. That's when you start attracting the right people into your life. That's when you start finding opportunities that align with your true self. That's when you start making the impact you were born to make. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There will be people who don't get you. There will be times when you doubt yourself. There will be moments when you're tempted to put that mask back on and blend in with the crowd. But in those moments, I want you to remember this. The world doesn't need another carbon copy. It doesn't need another person just going through the motions. It needs you, the real you, the authentic you, the you that's been hiding inside, waiting for a chance to come out and make a difference. So stand tall, speak your truth, follow your heart, be unapologetically you. Because when you do that, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect of authenticity that can change the world. And isn't that what life's really about? Not just existing, not just getting by, but really living, really making a difference, really leaving your mark on this world. You got greatness inside you. You got a unique purpose that only you can fulfill. But none of that can happen if you're busy trying to be someone else. So starting right now, make a commitment to yourself, a commitment to stop being who they want you to be and start being who you really are. It won't always be easy. It won't always be comfortable, but I promise you this, it will always be worth it. Because at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you won't regret the times you were true to yourself. You'll regret the times you weren't. So go out there and be you, the real you, the authentic you, the amazing, unique, one-of-a-kind you, because that's who the world needs. That's who can make a difference. That's who can change the game. You've got this. I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Remember, you're not here to live up to someone else's expectations. You're here to fulfill your own potential. You're here to write your own story. You're here to create your own legacy. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone else to validate you. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your stage is set. All you got to do is step into the spotlight and show the world who you really are. And when you do, when you finally let your true self shine, you realize something amazing, that all along, the person you were trying to be, the person you thought everyone wanted you to be, was just a pale imitation of the incredible person you really are. So let go of who you think you're supposed to be. Embrace who you really are, because that person, that real, authentic, amazing you, that's the person who can change the world. Now go out there and show them what you got. The world is waiting for you, the real you. And trust me, it's going to be amazed by what it sees. Remember, you're not just anyone, you're you. And that's your superpower. Use it, embrace it, because when you're truly being yourself, that's when you're at your most powerful. That's when you're at your most influential. That's when you're at your most alive. So stop being who they want you to be. Start being who you were meant to be. Start being who you really are. The world is ready for you. The question is, are you ready for the world? I believe you are. Now it's time for you to believe it too. Go out there and be you. The real you, the amazing you, the world-changing you, because that's who we've been waiting for all along. So let go of who you think you're supposed to be. Embrace who you really are.